Welcome back to Robert's Reviews. I'm excited to be here. Hope you are too. I hope you're in for a good one because I don't know how long this is going to be. Hopefully it won't be too long, but it might be long. I mean, you can see it before I do. Um, Today, we are going to be doing another season of a show. And I do have a disclaimer at the beginning of this one. The disclaimer will hopefully be in the description if I remember to write it, and it will be on the Facebook group when I post it. This show is not for children. It strongly says on Amazon that it is, which is the producer, it was produced by Amazon, that it is 18 and up for a variety of reasons. For sexual content, for bad language, for lots of gore. So if you are under the age of 18, I'm sorry, and this might hurt my views, I guess, but I would recommend you don't watch this video. That being said, that is my disclaimer. That being said, here are my views on ratings. You know how mature you are. I could have watched this when I was 16, and I would have been fine. But some other people might not want to watch this till they're 21. It's pretty bad, gore and sexual-wise. So, my and Robert's Reviews official thought on ratings is, you are responsible for what you watch. You are responsible for what you watch on TV, movies, YouTube. Any media that you consume is your problem. Okay? If you are not ready to consume such media, then don't consume it. It's not for you. But if you are and you want to watch this kind of stuff, that is totally fine. And I recommend you do, because this is great. So if you are ready for a lot of sexual content and a lot of blood, this is for you. But if you are not, feel free to click off. I'm very sorry. But I watched this for a variety of reasons, and I want to review it because I like it a lot, and I want to talk about it. Okay? I'm very sorry. Disclaimer over! Today we are talking about The Boys, Season 1. It is on Amazon, so if you have Amazon Prime, it's free! It was... all episodes were released on the same day in July of 2019. I'm very excited to talk about this. I literally just finished watching this like minutes ago. Although at the time that this comes out, it'll be like weeks ago. But at the time, right now, literally minutes ago, I finished watching this when I'm recording this. This show is great. I'm very excited to talk about it. But first, I have to do what I told you I would do when I talked about shows, which is, one, talk about the theme song. There isn't a theme song. I'm very sad. There wasn't an intro at all. They just started it. It was a cold open every time, and then they would just show the words "The Boys" in the middle of a scene, which I thought was both creative and effective. So, good for you. This, I normally had the creator. Why didn't I write down the creator? I thought I did. I guess I didn't write it down, but it was created by somebody. And it's on Amazon, and it is rated 18+, and for good reasons. So, let's jump right into the overall basis. So the basis of the movie is that superheroes exist. They are called supes in the real world. They take a lot of, cliche superpowers and make it so that they are real in the real world, that anybody can have these superpowers under the given circumstances, and what they would do in a real life situation, which is really cool because when we get to watch the MCU, which I love the MCU, don't get me wrong, we don't get to see a lot of real life issues happening along with the show or the movie. Whereas here, we get to see the consequences of what would happen if people did have superpowers. And this show, it goes over a lot of that, and it also has a lot of really cool themes that are in real life that matter and that we should talk about. So, I'm very excited to talk about this. So, what happens essentially in this world where superheroes exist, supes, is that a superhero named A-Train accidentally murders a person. And by murders a person, I mean runs so fast straight through a person that they explode. And they show it in slow motion. And it is awesome. It's awful, though, because then she dies, and her boyfriend is right there, and he finds out about it. His name is Huey, and wow, it's rough. So essentially, it is Huey and a gang of people who don't like the Supes and are against the Supes, um, banding together to, figure out what exactly is causing the Supes, their powers, and how they can stop it and how they can kill them, which is pretty cool. And so they go off together. It's Huey, Butcher, Mother's Milk, and Frenchie, and they all come together to work on it. Huey accidentally kills Translucent. Translucent is invisible. And it wasn't necessarily an accident, more so than it was he decided he's going to press this button and there's a bomb inside of his ass that explodes. And that causes a lot of problems because then they have to be hidden and on the run while they figure all this out. But essentially they figure out that there is this substance called Compound V that gives them the powers when they are babies. So they are not born with it like they think that they are. And we get to see a newcomer called Starlight come into the mix, and she joins what is called the Seven. And these are the 7 biggest known, most well-known superheroes of the time. And what we learn by watching the movie is that they are under strict control by a company. A company runs them. They own them. So they tell them what to do. They can't just go out and solve crime on their own. They get in trouble. So it shows how if superheroes existed right now, that would be interesting because people would own them. They would join a group because they need to get paid. They can't just run around doing stuff. So we see in this show that they are controlled by a person, an organization, and they are controlling them and telling them what to do. And the boys, Huey, Butcher, Mother's Milk, and Frenchie, go together, they band together, and try to basically put an end to it. And then in the end of the show, they don't really put an end to it. They just cause a lot of damage. I don't want to spoil anything if I can help it, because this is relatively new. It's not very new. Season 2 actually, by the time this comes out, Season 2 will be done. But Season 1's been out for a year, but I still don't want to spoil it, because any of you adults out there that are interested in a show that can have dominant, relevant themes in what is considered a futuristic world will be really cool. And you'd like it a lot. So I am not going to spoil anything if I can help it. I need a drink because my throat is dry. I keep all this in because I don't like editing. Alright. Let's discuss the actors first, and then I will discuss my thoughts. My back crack. On the film. And do know that there will be inappropriate things that I may or may not describe in this review. So if you're uncomfortable with that, click away. I'm very sorry. I don't like to reject viewers, but I don't want to make them uncomfortable either. So that is up to you. You are responsible for what you watch on YouTube. Class is over. All right. Jack Quaid plays Huey, and by far, I mean just far and wide, an amazing performance. Wow. As soon as he was on the screen, I was interested. I was like, oh, who's this guy? Because he's like this tall, skinny, nerd who works in a nerd shop. And then he suddenly kills a person. You're like, what? So cool. And his character arc, essentially, is a nerd whose girlfriend gets driven through by a person. And he's just a normal guy. He's not a soup. And he basically joins this band called the Boys. They're not actually called the Boys, but they are a group of boys, and so they call the show the Boys. So he joins the Boys and essentially tries to figure out what happened to his girlfriend and why it happened to his girlfriend. So he's mad at A-Train in particular because he killed her. But then he falls in love with Annie, who is the person behind Starlight, who is the new member of the Seven. And so we get to see that. He is the love interest of the show, the main love interest. I guess there's a few, but depends on what you call love. But he actually does genuinely enjoy Annie's company, and Starlight has no idea that Huey killed a person and is trying to figure all this out. So there's a conflict there that happens towards the end that I will let you watch yourself. I need to crack my knuckles. There we go. I feel better. All right. Carl Urban, who plays Butcher. Again, another really, 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 really good performance. I mean, I think every performance in this is great. I really liked his performance a lot. He had a really nice, soothing accent that I like to listen to. And he did such a great job portraying this badass who didn't give a shit about anything. He would just kill. He does not care. But he's a strategist as well. He's very smart with how he does things. And he's mad because we find out that Homelander, one of the Supes, did something wrong to his wife. I will not say what because A, I want you to find it yourself, and B, we still aren't 100% sure. I'm like 99% sure. I mean, it describes it, but I think that the person describing it may be lying. I'm sure I will find out in Season 2 when I watch that. I have not watched Season 2 yet. I plan to start that on Monday, which for you would have been after this has come out. Anyway. So I don't know for sure. We don't really know a lot of Butcher's background. We get a little bit, but we don't get a whole lot. Which is why Season 2 will be important. Alright. Laz Alonso plays Mother's Milk. Again, not a Supe, part of the boys. And he is a father. Which is the big thing surrounding his character. Is that he's a father, he's joined the boys because he and Butcher go way back. And Butcher's like, I need a guy to help. So he goes to Mother's Milk. And Mother's Milk joins, and he's got a daughter and a wife, and his wife does not want him to be doing this kind of stuff, chasing down Supes. But he does it anyway because he likes Butcher. And he's a pretty cool character. I wouldn't say he's my favorite character. I think the performance was really good because we get to see that softness of him because, he's a badass, of course. I mean, he's hunting down Supes, but he also has a softness because, he's got a wife and kids. He doesn't want to die and he doesn't want to do anything to get himself arrested because then he will screw up his relationship and he doesn't want that to happen. He doesn't want to get out of his daughter's life. So it's really important that we watch out for that relationship there is really interesting and I hope we can see more of that in Season 2. Tomer Capone plays Frenchie. Frenchie might actually be a friend, like the person that plays Frenchie might actually be French, which is why I'm probably bad at pronouncing this. But he has this really strong French accent. I mean, I'm bad at French accents, but he has very strong French accent. He speaks French for a little bit of the film series. And Frenchie, his main thing is that he falls in love with a girl that is a Supe, but it's a Supe that was held captive and is basically, like, she can't talk and she runs around killing people and it's a little wicked, but he falls in love with her and eventually, we get to see a relationship blossom between a mute person and Frenchie, who is just trying to... Frenchie's main thing is that everyone is nice until proven not nice, which is an interesting way to live in a world full of Supes. And I think that his character has the most moral dilemma because nothing bad that I'm aware of has happened to him. He's just a guy who's looking out for the good person, including the Supes. He's one of the few that believe that there are good Supes and there are bad Supes, which is why his character is really cool. Those are the good guys, the main actors for the boys. But then we have the Supes. There are a lot of them, so let's jump right into those. Anthony Starr as Homelander. Homelander's basically Superman. He can shoot lasers out of his eyes and he can fly, and he's super strong. Homelander has a really cool thing because I don't want to give too much away. He's an asshole. He does a lot of bad stuff. He blatantly murders people to get more publicity because his company benefits from it. Like, there's this one big confrontational scene that I think I can release because I don't think it's going to matter particularly because you'll see it coming from 13 miles away. But there's a plane in the sky, and he is sent up to go save them, but instead doesn't save them and just lets them die. And then he goes on the news and says how much of a tragedy it is, and he gets a lot of good publicity for it, which is an asshole thing to do, and Homelander is an asshole. That being said, Anthony Starr did a wonderful job portraying it. I mean, wow, it's one of those times where I have to remind myself that is an actor and not an asshole. He looks very different in real life than he does in the movie, in the series anyway. But a really, really good job Anthony Starr did. Next soup we're going to be talking about is Jesse. Jesse. Why is Jesse hard to say? I want to say Jesse, but it's Jesse. Wow. Words are hard. Anyway, Jesse Usher, who plays A-Train. A-Train, he's the fastest person in the world. But he's the fastest person in the world because he uses an illegal substance, or I guess it's not illegal, an unknown substance that you will learn about later, Compound V, to make himself basically hyperactive. It hyperactivates your senses and like your superpower, which is how he becomes the fastest person in the world. And he runs right through Huey's girlfriend and starts the show right off. And boy, is he crazy. I mean, you learn a lot about A-Train and his background throughout watching the series. And I like him. I like his character. I don't like him as like a character. Like, I don't want to like support A-Train at all. I think he's an asshole. He does a lot of wrong things to his girlfriend. Excuse me. Wow. But I think Jesse Usher did a really great job with A-Train in the fact that he is kind of multi-layered for reasons that you should watch the series to find out. The next soup we are going to be discussing, once I write down the time, is Chase Crawford as the Deep. The Deep is an asshole and kind of a rapist. So when Starlight shows up, he's the only one in the room, and Starlight's like, "Oh, I loved you when I was a kid. I used to look up to you." And he's like, "Great." Then he pulls down his pants and says that she's got to give him a blowjob, or he will basically kick her off of the Seven, which is not what she wants because she's wanted to be in the Seven forever. So she obliges, which is messed up. But as we'll discuss later, it's one of the ways that they can, use their leverage on other people, and it's really rough to watch. We don't actually get to see that, thank God, but it does happen, and apparently he's done this to many people, and so something happens later on in the show that you should watch yourself. Next, we have Dominique McElligott. McElligott. I'm sorry, I'm bad at words and names. I'm sorry, Mrs. McElligott, if you somehow watch this and I'm butchering your name, I apologize. She plays Maeve, and Maeve is like Homelander's equivalent or love interest. We see that they may have had an encounter before, a relationship encounter, and it's very awkward. The tension is very awkward, and we never really know whose side they're on because they don't really like each other, but they have to seem like they like each other for publicity reasons. And Maeve, I think, is the most straightforward character because she likes people and doesn't want to kill anybody, but Homelander basically makes her because if you don't do what Homelander says, he will just kill you because he has laser eyes. And Maeve doesn't have a lot of cool abilities except pretty much the same as him, but without the laser eyes, I'm pretty sure. I forgot to mention, the Deep can talk to animals and often gets them killed on accident, and it's quite hilarious. It's not hilarious at all to watch them die, but it's awful to say, but you should watch that. Pretty crazy. And then finally, the last soup that we'll talk about today is Erin Moriarty. Moriarty, I'm so sorry. As Starlight, or Annie. Starlight is my favorite suit because she's a nice person. She's a genuinely nice person who wants to genuinely help people, and the Seven is making her not do that because it's bad for publicity, even though it would be good for publicity. But whatever. Starlight is a very deep character because she just wants to do the right thing, but the corporate won't allow her to do the right thing because they say it's bad for business. So it's very important that we watch for Starlight and her relationship with Huey as well, as it takes a turn in the middle of the series. So make sure you look out for her. But she stands up for women's rights, and it's cool to see her because she's got this, like, you know, dominant woman character, and we don't have a lot of those. I mean, we're starting to see more and more, particularly as time progresses here, but, you know, here in 2020, we don't have too many strong female roles. Particularly before 2020. And this is one that I think was really great by Erin Moriarty. And I saw her in something, and I was very confused, because when she showed up on screen, I was like, I know her from somewhere. I didn't know where. Then I remembered Jessica Jones. She was in Jessica Jones Season 1. I have not seen Season 2 yet. That's on my to-do list. She was in Season 1, and she played Hope in that. And she was very good in that, but like she played a very different character. Back then, she was just a person that was basically just wanted to kill herself because she was whatever. We'll talk about that in a future review. Actually, pretty soon, probably the next 3 or 4 weeks. Anyway, she plays Starlight very, very well. She is this cute, like basically innocent girl, and you can see that. And she doesn't want to hurt anybody, and she doesn't want to like do the wrong thing, but she's being forced to because if she doesn't do what the company says, they will just fire her from the Seven, which is basically the end of your career at that point. Elizabeth Shue, I wanted to talk about, who plays Stillwell, and she's basically the person in charge of the Seven. I mean, there's a lot of other actors and actresses I could talk about, but I wanted to talk about her in particular because she did a wonderful job as a leader. The person in charge. And wow, she did so well. Look at my... That's funny. I'm like freaking out right now. But she did a wonderful job as Stillwell. Particularly her relationship with Homelander, which you should watch. It's complicated. I don't want to say too much. So watch it yourself, and you will know. Very, very wonderful job by all of the actors and actresses on this list. Wow, what an amazing cast. Perfect cast. Would not change a single thing. Wow. I know it's already been 22 minutes, but I want to discuss a couple more things. I'm very sorry this is long. Please watch all of it. It will help my ratings. Anyway. The CGI, or the computer-generated effects. They did a lot, or at least it seemed to the eye, that they did a lot of physical effects. Which a physical effect is different from a computer-generated effect because it happens in real time. So, like, if you wanted to use blood, you could put a blood packet and then make it explode. And essentially, what it does is just pressurizes it and then it pops. They did a lot of really cool stuff. I think. With physical effects, with a lot of the blood that they use. And they use a lot of blood. Holy crap, they use a lot of blood. A lot of really gross stuff that I don't want to get into. Watch it yourself if you want. Wow, it's really messed up. They use a lot of blood. And they use a really cool blood because a lot of blood looks really fake. I mean, it's thin and it flies everywhere. This is very thick blood that sounds thick, and you can see, like actual chunks of blood falling out. It's kind of gross. The Devil All the Time, also, quick shout out to The Devil All the Time, watch my review on that, also had a really good use of real blood, and thick crap. That was really cool. One thing that I read about, I don't look at reviews or stuff like that before I make my own reviews, but I paused the show because I had to pee at one point, and the X-ray thing came up on Amazon. I had not watched anything on Amazon in a long time. I forgot that happened. But it said that they were filming on the ocean, and then there was the big plane crashed, killed all the people, and all the plane parts and the garbage that was in the sea was 100% computer generated, so that they didn't end up like putting anything in the sea. For one, thank you for being polite, awesome people in doing that, because some filmmakers probably would just put it in there, probably get sued afterwards, but still. But also, wonderful job on the CGI crew for making that look so good. I had no idea. I would not have noticed. I would not have noticed that was fake. It was really cool. Great job, CGI department. Great job. There's so much more to unpack. Like, all the deep themes, like women in power, people using it's a classism thing pretty much, because the Supes are top class and they look down on everybody else, and they can do literally whatever they want and get away with it. And that is why you should watch this film, because it really shows what real life could be like, particularly now. And yes, this will come out before the vote. Vote! Go vote! Go vote for who you think should be president. I'm not going to tell you who you should think should be president, because that's not what this channel is for. But make an educated vote and vote for somebody that you truly believe should run this country. Anyway, there's so many dark themes. There's a lot of relationship themes. There's a lot of sexual dominance themes, which people are afraid to talk about nowadays. And I think it's interesting that they really just walk right out and they just say it and they show it. And they show it in a way that makes sense. And that is educational. I mean, really, for 18-year-olds, this is an educational show. It can show them what life could be like. I mean, obviously not with superheroes, but people in the high class, people who get paid more than other people, are going to act that way to other people because they think that they are better than them, which is false. I had a thing on Wednesday. Brain. I don't want to talk too long because I don't want this to be over half an hour, because I don't want you guys to not want to watch all of it. But if any of you want to have a conversation about The Boys, send me a message, post it on the chat on Facebook, or leave a comment down below. I would love to talk about The Boys more. I do enjoy this, and I would like to talk more about it on a more intimate level without putting all of it on YouTube, because some of it is inappropriate, and I want people to be able to watch my stuff. And there's so much to talk about. I mean, I could probably talk about this for hours. So if anybody wants to discuss it, send me a message. Do what you need to do. My email is on the YouTube channel, my Roberts Reviews email. So send me a message somewhere, and we can talk about it if you would like. With that said, I'm giving this an A. And the reason that I'm going to give it an A and not an A+, is because there was a lot of side plots that don't really get explained as much as I think they could have. And then there are some side plots that get explained way too much and doesn't really change my thoughts on the characters. That is literally the only thing that gave it to an A+. I don't want to talk about those in particular because I want you to make your own opinion on that when you watch it yourself. And I don't want to dive into side plots because it's unimportant to my review. And I don't want to give anything away because this is a really cool show that I think you should watch. With that, I'm going to give a couple quick things. Leave a like if you like this video, if you like the movie or the shows that I'm talking about. Leave a like. Subscribe. Subscribing is a massive help. It lets me know that what I'm doing is good and that you like it. Watch all my videos all the way through. That will help my watch time go up, and that will make me know that I'm doing what you want me to do. Leave a comment down below if there's anything you want me to review. I have a list here and a list here of basically everything that was requested to me that I need to watch. So leave me stuff, and over the next month or two, I will get all of it out. And I just want to do what you want me to do. You know, I want to entertain you while entertaining myself. So make sure you do that. Join the Facebook group. I'll leave a link in the description below. And always remember to just keep watching films, and I will see you in the next video.